Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So here's a newly updated deck profile on my Guru Control deck. So as y'all know, this is actually the Dragoon variation, and I made some minor changes because last time I played this deck I got second place actually, and I was so close to first place, but the card that did me in was Subterra Umastrix because I bricked so hard with it, and I just didn't really have anything to go with. So I decided to make some minor changes and cut some cards that I felt like were just not necessary, and decided to change it up a bit. So anyway, figured I'd show you guys what I got this time around, and I hope you guys enjoy this. So as y'all know, this is probably my favorite of the control decks that I play, simply because Guru is just so consistent, and it can be pretty annoying to deal with, I'm not gonna lie, and it's so fun to play too. So definitely a good pickup if you decide to try this deck out. But if you don't have Pot of Prosperity, I would suggest playing Pot of Extravagance. I think it's just as good as a replacement as you can get, and just kind of like work around your extra deck behind that. But anyway, starting off with 3 copies of Subterra Guru. I mean, everyone already knows what this does. It's your searcher, and it's a Book of Moon. So yeah, Guru is just so good. 3 Fiendus, your Omni Negate. It's a really good searchable hand trap for this deck, so why not? And of course, to round up the Subterra cards themselves, 1 copy of Nemesis Archer. You don't run Umastrix anymore because, I mean, it's not a bad card. It's just bricky. So, and if you're going to be running Dragoon, you can't really afford to run too many bricks. So that's just the thing. And of course, to go with our Dragoon package, 1 Dark Magician, and of course, 1 copy of Red-Eyes Dark Dragoon. And that's pretty much it. For hand traps, the only ones I'm running right now are 3 copies of Ash Blossom, simply because it's just so flexible. But I might switch this out for Imperm, but it's really up to you guys. Ash is, again, like in case if I lose the dice roll, it just gives me a good idea to know what I'm up against going second, and just helps me, flex out what I need to do. But overall, Ash is still a great card. And plus, if you happen to come across another player who runs Dragoon, it's a good way to stop Red-Eyes Fusion too. So yeah, it's just, like I said, it's a good card overall. And I feel like Ash is definitely one of the best cards to play. And that pretty much rounds up my monsters. So now moving on to spells. 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. Definitely one of the best cards in the entire deck, because it's basically Pot of Duality on steroids. And the fact that it digs in 6 cards deep to let you pick out whatever card you need, it's just so good. 3 Red-Eyes Fusion. I definitely want to see this as quickly as possible. I cut Magical Ice Fusion entirely. I'm not running that anymore, because most of the time when I did see it, I saw it when I didn't want to see it. It's like right before Magical Ice Fusion was more of a backup plan, but again, it just sort of flopped so hard, so that's why I decided to just cut it entirely and just max out on Red-Eyes Fusion, and that's it. Next, 3 copies of the Hidden City. So this basically gets you access to your Guru. So you're essentially playing Guru at 3. And the fact that it also negates attacks, yeah, it's pretty nutty. Moving on to a bunch of 1-ofs, actually. 1 Mystic Mind for going second. 1 Necro Valley, which I still love playing this tech because, this card screws up so many players right now. It stops Tri-Brigade in a way because they can't banish from their graveyard anymore to do their link plays. It stops any form of graveyard, reliant strategy, essentially. So, like, things that can recur the resources, yeah, you want to stop them from doing that. It stops Eldritch, you name it. So, yeah, Necro Valley is so broken, and I just love playing this tech. 1 Terraforming, and 1 Set Rotation. Set Rotation is just good because, it helps you play around imperms. Because, like, most people who see Groove, they want to stop that Groove from happening. So, if you play Set Rotation going first, and give your opponent one of the field spells, and yeah, you basically lock them out from using their imperm going second. So, yeah. Moving on, 1 Cave Clash. You basically search this out off of Guru to make it a quick effect. But if you hard draw it, then that's great, as long as you have enough combo pieces to keep pressing forward. And of course, 1 Called by the Grave, because I don't want my Red-Eyes Fusion to get negated. So, yeah. If I had a Crossout Designator, I would run it, but honestly, I don't think I really need it for this deck. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on. 3 copies of Solemn Judgment to start off with our traps. Definitely one of the best traps in the game. Yeah, the paying half is pretty hefty, but in case you need to protect your back row, it's probably going to be the best way to do it. 3 Strike, just to stop monster effects, or just to negate a special summon. 2 Final Battle. This card is super broken. The fact that it resets itself all the time is, yeah, this card never goes anywhere. For Floodgates, 2 copies of There Can Be Only One. 2 Summon Limit, because, I don't want combo decks to, get all crazy and stuff. Anything that's just explosive overall, this basically shuts that down. And of course, can't go wrong with 1 copy of Metaverse. And that pretty much runs out the main deck. So, yeah. All right, So now moving on to the extra deck, starting off with, of course, 1 copy of Red-Eyes Dark Dragoon. I was running this at 2 last time, but I decided to cut it down since, I'm no longer running Magicalized Fusion. And plus, it's not my primary win condition. If I get it out, it's great. It definitely helps you win games. But, you can actually win without it, so no need to worry. So even if your opponent does out it, there are other backup plans. 1 Verity Anaconda, just to get into the Red-Eyes Fusion if I need to. To replace that second Dragoon, I put in Geonator Transverser. Just figured why not. It's basically just prosperity fodder at this point. 1 Elsa. Elsa does come up every now and then. It's so good because, the fact that you just need an Earth monster to make it. And plus, it recurs your Earth monsters too. So, yeah, Elsa is not too bad. 1 Namir Phoenix. Rarely comes up, but when it does, it does. Striker Dragon. Again, prosperity fodder. Link Kuriboh, just to deal with, tokens. Occasionally, I do come across that 1 Dino player, so it definitely helps with that strategy. Same thing with Link Spider, Now, just to get a little cheeky, I like to go Relinquish Anima because, you could just make it off of Fiendus. 1 Fortress Megaclops and Boral Sword, which basically just come out through the effect of Waking the Dragon. So, as long as you're not main decking Waking the Dragon, these are basically just prosperity fodder, basically. 1 Necheria Exterior, one of my personal favorite targets for Waking the Dragon. To deal with Dogmatica players, 1 Intis, 1 Omega. And of course, another Waking the Dragon target, Ultimate Falcon. So that pretty much rounds out the extra deck. Because the thing about this deck is you're mostly going to use your main deck, mostly just to take control of the board and just keep hitting your opponent with Guru and Nemesis Archer and etc. etc. So, and again, if you bring out that Dragoon, that's great. It should help you win games. But anyway, now moving on to the side deck. 3 copies of Dimension Shifter. I've been thinking about main decking this, but at times when I do draw into it, it becomes a dead card by that point, so that's why I'm a little hesitant. But it's still good whenever you need to side it in. 2 copies of Heat Wave, because this deck can actually play around it. 2 Cosmic Cyclone. And for 1-ofs, I'm running 1 Lightning Storm because I only own the 1, so that's why I'm running 1 Raigeki to go along with it. And 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, so yeah. Sadly, again, I only have 1 Lightning Storm, but if I had 3, I would run it at 3. And then, of course, to round things up with the trap cards, 3 copies of Imperm and 2 copies of Waking the Dragon. Imperm is just good, that especially if you know you're going to be going first or second, you can kind of flex around your strategy a little bit, but Waking the Dragon is just to punish players who, basically want to pop your back row. So that's just the idea. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoy this, and I will catch you guys again next time.